All right, what's up guys, welcome. Happy Sunday everyone. Already 5th of May. It's already another month ahead, so happy month for everyone that I'm speaking with for the first time. I hope April was a good month for you guys, and that may even be better trading wise and everything else. So yeah, so welcome to the stream again. It's another weekly market analysis. Let's take a look at what has been going on in the markets and what a crazy market we have had. Finally, the N pairs, right? Finally, BOG, which they haven't really kind of confirmed that they did it, but no one else really has the power to move the N pairs like that. So it happened twice. It looks like intervention. First time it was on Monday straight away, as soon as the market opened over the weekend, and then when everyone was starting to switch off after the FOMC meeting, they just decide to act again and move the yen pairs another 500 pips or so to the downside, which is a big and important aspect comparing with for example, the way they did when 1 year and a half ago, back in October 2022, when they intervened again, and the importance of having a second wall being broken to confirm the bearish momentum, or kind of the reversal of the trend, instead of just one big spike down. And then if the second wall was not created, then maybe we could still retest the highs. But yes, so that happened. We had FOMC as well, had NFP and some other data in the US, which starts to slow down. Okay, so one of the first times that we actually had a weak NFP, weaker than I expected. We also saw services PMI below 50, which has been above 50 for a while. So we started to notice some weakness in the US data, which it's a shift. It's a shift in the market, and the way the market is actually reacting to it as well. Okay, the concern during the FOMC meeting was that CPI report that came out 3-4 months in a row slightly higher than expected, and this time finally the Fed Powell kind of touch point a little bit on that aspect, that the confidence to cut rates, and it's still going to remain in terms of data dependent, but the confidence now, or was feeling less confident now comparing with March, when they had the vast FOMC meeting. However, after that, we already had this negative, not negative, but lower than expected non-farm payrolls data, and also the services PMI. And the market's adjusting. And at this point, what you have is basically 2 rate cuts. Okay, so before the FOMC meeting, maybe just 1 rate cut until the end of the year. But at this point, the market, for example, in December, it's pricing in more 2 rate cuts. Okay, for the rate cut to be, for the interest rate to be at around 5%. And another big question is, when are we expecting for the first one to happen? We are looking at September at this point being the first time, which is an interesting aspect in here, especially in the US, and in this case, looking at politics, which I'm not going to really talk too much about it, but it's in regards to the 7th of November, right? Or is the Fed going to cut in September or November? Let's not forget that in November, I think it's maybe in the beginning of November, we have elections like in the US. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to actually cut rates, basically 2 months before, 1 month and a half before, which may start having an impact into the economy as well, and of course the stock market. Or are they going to actually wait towards more the maybe election period? It's just a coincidence of the dates in here, of the days that coincide basically one with the other around the beginning of November. So yes, that's basically when you are looking at the market is looking for the first rate cut in the US. And once again, the data starts to be much worse than expected, and maybe that can force the hand of for the Fed to act a little bit quicker. Who knows? We'll see. So this week is going to be quieter in terms of news. Not really much. We have interest rate in Australia, but in the UK. Aside from that, it's going to be a quite week, especially in terms of the US data. So yes, after so much volatility and with the dollar moving lower, the indices moving higher, and maybe it's going to be a bit more of a ranging market, or we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. So, all right, let's take a look at actually of what to expect for next week. Again, feel free to comment and to share your levels that you are looking to trade. Basically, that's what we're going to do during this next hour or so, is to look at key levels to potentially can originate good trading opportunities. We look at FX, commodities, indices, and a little bit of crypto as well, which is recovering as well after last week's move to the downside in here. So dollar index, right? So we finally moved to downside. Okay, so that was a little bit of the prediction. We noticed that price was somewhere in here. Let me just delete these words. In there. So initially I was looking also at this more kind of this level in here, being aware that price had broken this lows last week, and it was somewhere in here, and then it remained with the price keep respecting these lows when you had this move to the upside, right? So there was literally a gap in here that we could see on our index that eventual price would like to fill, or at least that was always our bias throughout the week, trying to see when dollar index would fill this range. Okay, would it be maybe during the FOMC, or maybe afterwards around NFP that price would eventually move in here? And then the question mark is, should be expecting the dollar index to bounce from here and go higher, or should you actually expect eventually this level to just have a small reaction and then price push even lower, which again below that level then there was a big gap in here for price to fill, and maybe there's even more gap in here for price to continue to move to the downside on the dollar index. Okay, so that was at least some of the buys that you were looking at throughout the week, eventually for price to push lower to take these lows. And the question mark again, it was in regards to the highs. Well, like, would price respect these highs, or would make maybe one extra fake out of this level and then move to downside? Okay, and that would be also the answer towards this question. At least the way I was looking at it, it would be if price actually had, okay, respected this double top in here. Okay, so we move to the upside. We are around this level, and on the 1st of May, around the NFP, if we had kind of made this, then maybe I'll be looking for those longs from this level potentially to push higher, now that maybe price had broken this double top in here. If price just kept respecting the highs in here, I wouldn't really be that enthusiastic to look for longs from this level anymore, because at this point what you have is basically a double top which price respects for some reason, and then you continue to have new lows actually being created in here. Therefore then I become a bit more bearish in this case. Again, if you actually zoom out in here, we are not reacting from a bad level. Okay, we haven't still closed the gap, and that was one of the parts that I could consider when price was somewhere in here. If price would eventually close this gap in here that was created back in October or November last year, but no, it didn't do that. So then it just continued to move lower, with NFP also resumed the move to downside, and therefore at this point I'm not that bullish anymore about this level. I'll just be looking for eventually this level to be broken, especially because we haven't even managed to break any proper highs in here at this point. As you can see, price basically just keep respecting, creating lows and respecting the previous structure, and eventually just continue to move forward, right? And then it was the big move during the NFP, which is quite similar in many of the dollar pairs, where we had this big space to fill. Also had space on the euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar, and so on across many assets in here. So that's basically last week. Now, what are you looking for, right? So basically we broke below that structure, and question mark is now, is this low even reacting from, wait a second. Is this low even reacting from anything important? That's one question that you can try to look at in here, or this is just opening the door for price to go even lower, right? So again, there is a big candle in there, so not really anything on the lower time frame that you can see in there, that at least on 5 minute time frame. Now it's okay structure, kind of retested this level in here, so that's kind of okayish, but I don't really think that now price is going to just stop in here. I think the dollar can eventually resume lower, and you do have this structure in here that price only reacted a little bit and eventually could use it again to continue to push lower, okay, and at least towards more of this level in there. What we have now is actually an interesting level, that you have a double top being created in here, which can also be quite attractive eventually for price to fake out that level and eventually push lower, okay? So by any chance, if the dollar does want to go all the way up in here, we can definitely now fake out this double top, maybe react from a bit more this level in here, or just close the gap, or eventually in there, and then maybe push price lower. And for that to happen, now the question mark is going to be, where is this low going to be reacting from? Okay, maybe if the low reacts perfectly from this demand zone, that maybe turns a bit more bullish. If price, for example, maybe just breaks below this level, use this low's liquidity and turns to the upside, and then makes out that move, then that can be an interesting level to look for a sell, because this doesn't really react from anything, just basically collecting liquidity in here, especially if it doesn't even touch this level. Okay, let's just rephrase that. Okay, just a small move. Let's not even make price touch this level in here, so there is more space in there, and then you can maybe make that move, fake out this double top, and then something like that could happen on the dollar index. Okay, so those are just a few zones to consider. Eventually the deep retracement at this point, something in here, and for a continuation, even maybe somewhere in there, dollar index can still react from in here. So yeah, that's just a little bit of a few levels. Then in my opinion, this even already break of the low, so I could even see dollar index moving even lower from there, but we will see. Yep, on the daily, yeah, could go a bit lower, and to be honest, even on the weekly, it's kind of a part of this demand zone. Yeah, we'll see. Like, it kind of reacted from this approach of that level. Not my favorite. Okay, on the monthly it's slightly different. Like on the monthly, looks like it's actually a good level in there. So we'll see. Now at the lows, is there anything still in here? Is price maybe going to fake out this level? If it still wants to respect these lows, is anything in here that you can look for? Maybe. Like the way price kind of moved away from here, kind of reacted. They have left this level behind. By any chance, if it wants to go there, they already have this big spike in here, and they have a little bit of this structure in there. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen in here on the dollar index. All right. Moving along, let's take a look at the indices. Let's take a look at the indices. Okay, S&P, right? So we have the correction to the upside. Okay, in my opinion, again, this bigger, this low in here is still an engulf down. Eventually, I'm expecting. I mean, I wouldn't matter of if I see eventually this full space being filled and S&P getting closer to this level. So that's what I'm looking for. Jack, man, Kalispera. What are you doing, man? Just enjoy Greece. How are you? How are you, man? Yeah, so S&P moved, created this low that was already 2 weeks ago. Meanwhile, it's respecting every single demand. Okay, so it's basically it broke this level. So in the short time frame, we're looking actually for longs. Price respected this level. It created new highs. It got close to a kind of a level in here. Okay, kind of got close a bit around this level of structure somewhere in there, and it respected again this demand zone one more time, and it continue. Like, so basically it's a pure kind of trend continuation in here, right? High, respect the lows, continues to create new highs, and it just continues to be like that without any proper shift in here. There's some kind of volatility in between here with the news, but in general just continue to move higher, and we'll see, like we'll see eventually at around this structure a bit more to the upside how price eventually is going to react. At this point maybe pushing a bit more to the upside in here, so we'll see if there's anything in there. Again, I still like the highs on the S&P. Okay, not sure if we are going to have that deep retracement, but so far the lows are holding quite nicely. So until the lows actually start being weaker or kind of eventually being broken, no need to 100% look for any reversal. Thank you, man. My trading week was so-so. It was actually not the best. I did miss some of the best setups. I ended up with one break even, one loss on Friday. Yeah, but I did miss like the overflowing Swiss. It was a big miss opportunity, and I was about to short also on the end just before the second intervention. I just thought like, okay, Fetcher Powell stopped talking, like it's 9 p.m. I'm not really going to, or 8:30, whatever. Not really going to be opening a trade right now, and all of a sudden it just moves 500 pips down. Yeah, I don't really like to trade to execute trades like 1 hour before the closing, but in this case it just happened in there. And there were kind of a couple of others that maybe I could have taken and I didn't in there. So it was not the best. My month of April was positive, so that's not bad. But yes, I started my with a break even and the loss basically. So yeah, it is what it is. Moving on for the next ones. Yeah, man, I bet that you are, that in Greece must be, so your first full day. No, you arrived yesterday, so it's already 1.5 days. Is the weather okay? Are you enjoying? Did you celebrate the Easter in there? But yeah, so yeah, S&P, just continue with the analysis. That's a little bit of what I am looking at. Price to go slightly higher and a few bounces until we have proper weakness. Okay, at this point you do have this demand zone, which is basically the level that moved to the upside with NFP, so that's something. We may have a little bit of a rectangle initially somewhere in there. Then price eventually can fake out this level, push in here and go higher. So that can be something to pay attention to. NASDAQ also continue to respect the levels. Okay, so this one actually respected the upper edge, and it could still continue to move lower, but at this point it kind of regained the levels, kind of broke the highs as well, kind of initially respected that level, that extreme, but it kept respecting the demand zone. So there you go. At this point we continue to move to the upside in here. We can start deleting some of these zones in here. Doesn't really matter. I do have kind of this level in here, could be maybe an interesting zone for NASDAQ to react from. If not, yeah, maybe it's already reacted from it. It was this level between these previous level support resistance, this decision point in there, that price push lower. But there you go. Like, this is kind of a good example of managing our expectations in terms of targets, right? At this point, because price is literally kind of turning around, the only target that we could look for at this point is basically from here, like from that level towards this previous level support resistance, and that's it. Like, that's basically the only space available at this point, and that's basically what price did from here to here, and it looks like it's resuming the move till to the upside. Okay, until maybe we have a better PA, and then eventually you could be looking for something like this, maybe retesting this structure in here. But as long as we don't have that information or kind of that PA, the only thing that we're going to be looking is basically that, right? We're going to be from that level towards the whatever next level it is, and that's it basically. And as you can see, this decision point on the 5 minutes. It looks like that price was already breaking some lows in here. Like I bet that on 15 minutes it looks like the same, but if you actually look on the 1 minute time frame, this is the range, this is the zone in here. Okay, this is actually after the spike up and down. If you go to tick charts, it's even different or more detailed, but that's the level in here after the push up. So that's actually the zone that you want to see being broken before looking for sales in here. Okay, as long as this level holds, you may continue to look or expect a bit more to the upside. So that will be any target from the level. I didn't really trade it, but yeah, it was a level somewhere in there that we could have looked for in there. Yeah, the weather is good. That's perfect. Yeah, I mean, the tenders, I have a story. I think it was the first time I went to Greece. When you were in the highway driving, all of a sudden, for 1 hour, kind of, it's fully cloudy. It was just raining and a lot of thunders all over the place. Even the rain, how they call it when it's kind of those small kind of white rocks that kind of come out in the rain. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. We were about to kind of just stop under one of those bridges in the highway just to protect ourselves. But yeah, it was hilarious. It was like 20 minutes or something like that. That intense rain, and then all of a sudden, boom! Just open again. It's sunny, and it was good. So yeah, but it was a funny story. It's a nice welcome. Me first time I went to Greece. I think it was the first time. Maybe the second, I don't remember now. But yeah, I hope you have a good time, and keep sharing your pictures on the channel. In there. So yeah, NASDAQ, that's basically what you're looking for. Price maybe to continue to go higher. Are you going to challenge the highs? Are you still going to go all the way there? We'll see. Like, so the way the market is reacting as well. Again, everyone is looking to see if the Thatcher Powell will be more dovish or hawkish. It was not hawkish at all. It was actually a bit dovish, and even the approach towards the bonds, it demonstrated that. And then this last data that we had on NFP and then services PMI, it's kind of reacting as a good news, bad news, because it may force the hand for the Fed to act earlier. So, and that can bring the indices to the upside at this point. So yeah, maybe that level is still okay. Is price going to respect anything in here and push lower? Just keep following the PA at this point. Otherwise, you may even challenge the highs one more time in here. Basically, maybe resume, move down. Again, I'm okay with the low. It's not my favorite. I would prefer even a little bit lower, but I'm okay. It's reacting the upper edge on that level, so that's definitely okay. On the S&P, I'm a bit more bearish, to be honest. But let's see this week how price is going to open as well. In terms of earnings, there isn't that many left at this point. Basically, the big ones have already announced their earnings, so that's another factor that's going to start reducing a bit more the volatility in the indices. Dow respected the extreme in this level, so that was perfect. There was no engulfing here. Price respected just as he did, and it started pushing higher. And again, we may even go retest some of these levels in here at the highs. So that's another aspect in there. I still like this level to potentially look for a short, but you didn't really manage to break below that low. So we'll see. This arrow is if in case we actually had broken that low, which never happened. And price kept prospecting within this level and pushing higher. So we'll see. Okay, so at this point, maybe bounce and resume. Maybe price respecting some of these fresh levels in here and just respecting the next level and moving, carry on moving to the upside until we start having proper breaks of levels. So that will be the focus, is to see if there starts to show some weakness and breaking some lows to potentially build up some reversal. Otherwise, it's just a continuation in here. And for anyone that is interested in looking for trend continuation setups, those are the setups that you can look for. Personally, because I'm more of a counter trend trader, I'll be looking or waiting to see some weakness within these assets. DAX also again, I was looking one more time for price to react from that level, never did, just kept respecting this zone. Another move down and respected the demand zone one more time, even the upper edge of this level, and we'll see in here what's going to happen. Again, there was a bank holiday in Europe, basically the Labor Day on the 1st of May, which is exactly the day of the FOMC, so didn't really move on that day, missing out on maybe that volatility. But we'll see. Okay, we are compressing quite a lot, and maybe can retest a little bit more, something in there. The low is okay at this level. It's not bad, it's actually good. So we'll see if it's going to challenge a bit more the highs, and the highs may still be okay in there as well. So they are not that bad. So let's see. We have a double top in there. The price eventually can fake out. We have also destruction here. That price basically already bounced from it, but can even bounce one more time. And what you have in here is basically building up this compression at this point, which eventually can be filled to the opposite side in terms of a short as price continues to move higher, and that can be filled quite quickly in here. So that's something to pay attention to on the DAX in there. And now looking at the Euro index and then the yen index, we're going to spend a little bit of time to look at the yen pairs. So Euro index, this is another one that it was quite clear. Okay, so the chart, it was another clear chart that helped us to create our own bias for this week, especially with regards to the euro dollar as well. In this case, in the beginning of the week, when you start looking for potential sales, it was sales. Again, most of the move on the euro index, it was actually because of the euro yen. Okay, this big sell off and this big sell off, it was mostly because of the euro yen and what was going on with the yen pairs. But the chart in there was quite clear. Okay, start having that reversal pattern, breaking lows in here. So we broke the first low in there, we broke the second low in here. So that was basically the first one. Then we have a second one in here, and then price which we had initially respected a bit this level, but with a fresh supply in there as well, and we have the move lower. Okay, so we start opening door to go lower, and in my opinion, I think we are going to resume that move. Interesting enough that even with the NFP and so on, with euro kind of moving to the upside, this euro index didn't really move that much. It kind of just remained within this level, and eventually can even go a bit more higher, and then just resume the move. It can just resume the move in here and push lower. So that's something to pay attention to in here. Again, the zone at the highs is quite good at this point, so that's something that we also been looking for. Initially, this highs in here didn't really reacted close enough to this extreme. Now this one in here is getting a bit more closer to that. Again, there's maybe still a level in here that eventual price could go towards to, but maybe now we can feel all this compression and even maybe create a low, because this one is already kind of an engulf lower in here, right? And all of a sudden we may have all this range to fill from here. And that was already something that we were looking for, and how to position ourselves in terms of the euro pairs, which may resume next week as well. And then the yen, right? What can we talk about it? Right, so last Monday, it finally made that last leg down and a push higher. So this was the first intervention, and then you had the second one. Beautiful level where this yen index ended up reacting from. Okay, it was literally that small zone in there, that month in here. That was kind of another factor that I was looking for the short on the yen, on the pound yen. Yeah, nice little zone in there, fake out that low and push higher, and all of a sudden, yep, Wednesday at around 9 p.m, something like that, it just made another big spike, and there you go, right? So this is important to confirm the bullish reversal in here, right? Because one thing is if price had just made that spike up, but then it will eventually just move slowly down, kind of how the way it was doing in here. If by chance that wouldn't happen. It would be just resuming eventually and challenging these lows, and then eventually could even create a new low. So having this second now break, that's actually important. That basically confirms the turn. At this point, it creates new structures in here that price can use to reinforce the move higher. You can even retest this level one more time and still hold the level in there and push higher. So that was important. Again, just comparing with what happened again 1.5 years ago, back in 2022, we had these two interventions as well. Okay, so we had the first one in September, so that was one of them. Even though this is okay, in this case we actually had a new high, but when you're looking at the dollar yen, we didn't really manage to create a new low in there, and eventually we end up creating again new highs on dollar yen. Maybe I should give the example with the dollar yen and not with these guys in here. So I'll do that in a bit. So yes, this kind of reinforced a little bit more the bullish momentum on the yen pairs, and interesting enough, the level was actually where it reacted. Okay, it was actually that fresh level that we had, and then kind of that zone as well. At this point, it can start to go higher. Okay, it can eventually break this level in here. Of course, these highs are important to be broken to confirm that as well, and maybe retrace a little bit, and then maybe can push higher. And this may be finally the turn on the yen pairs in here, which is going to be interesting. And we've been talking about this for the last 1 or 2 months, reinforcing that aspect even like kind of 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago, that it will be imminent. And you could see already some of these signs, some of this strong push or buy orders that was going on the yen index, even though kind of then would get rejected, but there were quite a few and finally happened in here. So that's interesting. We can take a look at the dollar yen from here just to see exactly where dollar yen ended up reacting from in the bigger picture. Just do it this one. All right, so where did it reacted, right? As soon as it got to that 160 level, it just reversed. All right, so basically that's the zone that the BOG was paying attention to. So we wanted initially to see this high being taken and price reacting maybe somewhere from that zone, which didn't really happen, or it happened just for a moment, and then price resumed the move up and price ended up reacting still within this high. So it reacted from that extreme. It's actually kind of a nice fuzzy more than there in the lower time frame, but it kept respecting these highs in here. There's even an interesting level at around 161 or 162, so just slightly higher. So that's where this dollar yen end up reacting from. Okay, all the way to that extreme. That's where it reacted at this point in here. What I wanted to mention before, it was this one, right? So it was the previous intervention that we had in September 2021. No, September 2022. So this was the first one, and price just created one big push down. Never really managed to break this demand zone, and eventually slowly end up creating new highs. While then 1 month after that, it intervened twice, one in here, and then kind of another push straight away, kind of in there, basically in 2 days in a row or something like that, and it managed to finally break 2 lows in there, and that kind of starts opening the door for price to turn in here. Okay, again, we actually covered that one when it happened back in the day. We have that live stream anticipating exactly that move. It was actually quite a nice one, breaking out this level. It's exactly what we're looking for, and this was the target basically. Yep, we did predict that one before it happened, and then eventually that one as well. But again, it respected the highs. Okay, so again, another aspect important in here when you're seeing this big intervention is where is the high and the low reacting from. Okay, where is this level reacting to on the left side, and eventually where was this low, or kind of maybe this low or whatever, or this low now, which is really good, this low. So that was the kind of field the targeting here, reacting from. Okay, for example, if price now reacts from this level, starts moving higher, this is a super valid low. It just retested the previous structure in here, and it could push higher. Okay, this is a perfect level where dollar yen reacted from in here. It's actually quite good, and from here you could by any chance resume the move upwards. But if you do manage to break below this level, now we are talking. Now that's basically confirmed the reversal, because all of a sudden we have basically this structure here, and this becomes basically the turn, and we start having these left shoulders in here to play with as well, to hold price down one more time and start challenging eventually even this low in there, right? So that becomes the bigger picture on dollar yen, especially if we do break below this level in here. So that's a really key level where dollar yen just reacted from with NFP, and yeah, definitely something to pay attention. Now in here we have new levels, right? Of course we have the extreme in there that created this move down last Monday, so definitely that we have that basically supply in there if by any chance prices want to retrace that. But in here we have quite a few as well that you can still play with. Okay, even by any chance prices want to fake out this level, we can do something similar. Again, if you compare with this level in here, you can see the way price moved. Okay, so it reacted quite similarly to the same levels as you can see in here. So we had this basically last month zone which price reacted from, and then we had the second move down, and then we created kind of, when we moved down, we kind of left this supply in here behind. Okay, basically left that level behind. Maybe there was even another one in here that was left behind as well, basically within this this zone in here, which most likely it was reacted from in the future. Okay, after we finally take these levels in here. Okay, so we may have something like that. Okay, we may have a breaking, kind of a fake out, which is basically just happened, a new low, and price may go back to this zone in here also, wherever we are now, and then yeah, then price just dropped. So we can try to look for those levels in here as well. Okay, so yep, that's basically kind of a small reaction there, and price kind of resumed. Can just do it this. All right, so those levels may be here. Okay, so we can look into the lower time frame, try to see exactly where these ones may be, somewhere in here that we can maybe pay attention to in there. But as you can see, price basically reacted also from this previous level of the month that price never respected, and it used now as a short. So that's interesting, and yeah, we may go back eventually close to this level in here to look maybe for new shorts in there, especially if we do manage to break below these lows in there. So that's euro, that's dollar yen. Let's take a look also at the euro yen, because I don't really have enough data in the MT4. So this is what I don't want on the FXCM. All right, so this is another one that we already broke below it. So you start managing to break below those lows and kind of had a big move downside in here. So where did you react it from in here? Okay, so we fake out these highs apparently, and we went a little bit more into here, which is actually, I think we covered actually that level 1 week ago during the stream. That these highs in here maybe will be eventually faked out, and there was this level in here as a fresh zone, and then everything in here is a bit compressed, and then it will be a little bit higher. But that level in here, it was fresh. I do believe that we actually covered that one 1 week ago, and eventually euro yen end up reacting from it in there. Yeah, yep, that's definitely a valid level. We noticed that this highs never really reacted from it, so that was still fresh, and there you go, the big push into there, and then again the move to downside. Again, similar story in here in terms of the level where it reacted from. Maybe you have this one in here, but we also have this one in there. That's basically where price kind of got really close to picking out these highs in here, and then the push lower, and yeah, we start breaking below this level. So again, this can be eventually continuation, but we'll see. Okay, we basically now have a little bit of a range in here that you can trade in between, and if you start breaking even new lows, then you can continue to push more to the downside on the euro yen. But it's a really valid level in here where the highs reacted from. So that's important as well to maybe confirm that we are starting this push lower. So that's what we have in there. And then we're going to resume it with the remaining of the N pairs in a bit. All right, let's take a look at euro dollar and so on. Okay. All right, so euro dollar. Euro dollar. Like similar to dollar index, it started to show signs of continuation here to the upside. It took me a while to eventually identify this level. It was actually more on Friday morning that I actually realized of the pattern that we're having in here. Again, price had reacted perfectly from that level, but this was already kind of a break to the upside out of this structure. And this looks like kind of we call it a zone 2 type of a move at this point after the zone 1 is created, which is bottom, and kind of we're looking for this zone 2 to happen before we start a zone 3, which creates with momentum in here, especially because the way price was reacting from key levels. Okay, it respected perfectly this demand zone. It turned in there. Okay, that was actually Wednesday, and then the way it reacted also from this level in here, which is kind of in alignment with these left shoulders as well, which starts to be a bit more clear than when it happened. Like I think, yeah, somewhere in here on Friday, kind of, okay, hold on a second, this looks like definitely a continuation pattern more than a reversal. It looks like that euro is actually about to go higher, and again there was a big space in here to fill with NFP, and price basically just did that in here. So that's basically what we had. Yeah, perfect levels in there where price ended up bouncing in between. Not really much to say it. Again, similar to dollar index, there's maybe a bit more room to the upside in here on the euro dollar. At these lows, maybe there's something in here. Price does want to kind of resume a bit more and go higher from there. Who knows? Like, it looks like that at this point it can continue to go slightly higher. Not really sure about where price just paused now. Yeah, there could be maybe a bit more room to the upside, to be honest. Let's just see where this high reacted from. Yeah, just took one of the last pieces in here. We had a big candle in there, just took those levels. Maybe on the tick chart there's something in there. I'm not really going to look at it. Yeah, so again, we may continue to go slightly higher. Question mark is from where, and yeah, can maybe just resume that level. If you start breaking too much below this level, then we may go back into this level again in here. At this point, I wouldn't really like maybe the euro to break below this level in here. Otherwise, it may start looking more of a deeper turn in here. So I would prefer. Now, let's just readjust that, right? Because if by any chance the euro index is about to fill out that space, maybe eventually we can have this euro dollar also making the same type of move. Okay, so question mark is, if the euro index does want to have a little bit more of a deep retracement, maybe euro could go slightly higher as well, and then eventually turn together. So that's something to bear in mind. This week there's not going to be that many news with the dollar, so maybe the dollar is not going to be in control. Maybe a bit more the pound, which and they're going to have interest rate decision in there, and some other data. So that's going to be interesting. Okay, may have a little bit of the distance between the euro and the pound this week. Yeah, so we'll see. Pound. Yeah, so pound start to turn as well. Again, it was that good reaction already 2 weeks ago from that zone. Meanwhile, there's been just moving upwards, and it kept respecting a bit more the extremes, kind of broke that well, but then just kept respecting and respecting. and initially reacted a little bit from that level as well, but yeah, not being able to kind of break below this low, kind of start making a bit more bullish. And we had, similar to the euro dollar, a lot of space in here to fill. Price hasn't even got closer to that level, so I could see maybe continuation a bit more to the upside on the pound. Again, maybe reacting from here could be an option. Yep, something in here could be an option there, or by any chance the prices want to, again, if you start breaking below this level, a lot of it looks compressed and price can even go below that. So that's also something to bear in mind. But at this point I would prefer to see more bullish momentum than just a complete reversal, but we will see. I think there's a bit more room to the upside, to be honest, but we are in the middle now, right? We are basically in the middle at this point, so price can actually bounce in between as much as it wants at this point. So when it gets closer to these levels, then you'll kind of reassess to see if you should be looking for any kind of trades in there or not. Euro pound is an interesting one. So euro pound respected the demand zone. It was a really good reaction from there. It spent a bit more time than expected, and then kind of a little bit of a range. Again, trading the euro pound is something that maybe can start paying attention. Like when we have weeks focus more on the dollar, maybe it's not the best asset to trade, because most likely we're going to have a lot of ranging market in between this asset, because euro and the pound are moving in the same direction. Therefore, the euro pound just kind of ranges. But when you do have those weeks, for example, this week, which there's going to be some big news in the for the pound in the UK, and with the interest rate decision as well. So those are maybe the weeks, the interesting weeks to trade a bit more the euro pound, because there can be that, again, that separation between the euro dollar and the pound dollar, which can make this one move in here. Nevertheless, it was a good move last Friday, finally to move away from this range. And again, good reaction from here, and let's see if you're not going to challenge the highs as well in there. But that's interesting to see, and yeah, there's maybe a continuation to look towards that level in here. Then we have Aussie dollar, which also turned perfectly. Okay, since you respected that low, it was a perfect level. Then eventually continued to move higher. Price took this level again, didn't really react close to that extreme. Yeah, that was one of those missed as well opportunities. I was looking for price to get closer in there, never really got close to look for a short initially, and then for the long I was looking in here. Like actually Aussie dollar, it was one of those that never really got closer to my zone at the highs to look for shorts. We start breaking a low, so I was starting to look for that potential turn, even though we were kind of still far away from this level. But it started to look interesting to look for a short. And then in terms of the longs, price just fake out this level. Yes, reacted from this upper edge in there. I was looking for this Aussie dollar to actually get closer in here. And then, yes, and then I'll be looking for the long. But unfortunately, never really got there and just started turning on that day. And since then, just pushed higher. Yeah, so this was one of those assets that end up missing both the long and then both the short and then the long. Price just fake out this level again, is still reacting within this structure at this point, so that's something in there. Yeah, that's something in there to pay attention to. So we will see what's going to happen on the Aussie dollar at this point. It got really close to this extreme, but the main difference with these levels before is that price was still only reacting from this level, and now we are reacting, or we had already reacted from this extreme in here. So the level has been reached. There's no more open space in this case, therefore we can actually challenge to make this move and go all the way towards there eventually. Okay, in here. Of course, breaking this high confirms a bit more the openness for price to eventually get to that level. As long as maybe price still it is within this level, we have a little bit of a retracement. Ideally to be maybe for price to eventually challenge. Going here again, you have interest rate decision on Tuesday, so expect straight away some volatility on the Aussie pairs, but ideally to be maybe something like this. Take these highs, start opening the door, maybe still react from something here. If you also have a deep retracement, then you can have it. Otherwise, we may just continue to move higher and eventually take this value in here, feel out this compression, and you are close to the highs, just like that. If it is about to have any kind of deep retracement, I'm paying attention to this level, even though price already reacted from in here. Okay, as you can see, that level looks like it's been already reacted from, but we do have this low that can be fake out, so maybe price can still eventually get closer to that level again. That's in case of a deeper retracement after taking out this structure in here. Okay, prices actually want to do a bit more. Yeah, something like that. So that's Aussie dollar. It's going to be interesting to track as well. This week has been moving quite nicely as well. Yeah, Euro Aussie, which got also closer to one of those extremes that we've been waiting for. Okay, it finally kind of fills this range and it's getting closer to here. So we'll see how price may react. Again, on the bigger picture, it looks like that this can be more of a continuation. Okay, breaking these walls just retested that level. It may eventually look like as a continuation in here, eventually for price to go closer to that level. But that's bigger picture. On the lower time frame, there's maybe some reaction. Price already kind of reacted a little bit from that level. There's maybe something else in here that price could react from, but how big the reaction is going to be, that's definitely a good question mark. Again, it could fake out this low, and then after that could go higher from here, maybe just reacting from this zone in here. Yep, you can continue with the other Aussie pairs as well. Again, this was a nice one. Fake out, finally reacted from that level. Then you have the fake out into here, and now completely pushing lower, and you are looking for this pound Aussie to actually get closer to this level in here at this point. Okay, so we have been turning bearish for a while and finally getting momentum in here as well. So that's a nice one in there. And then the N pairs, and let's take a look at the Aussie Yen. Again, Aussie Yen, right? Same story. Where is this high actually reacting from on the left side? Is it a valid level? Did it broke something? Did it respected something? Where is this high reacting from? Okay, and then looking left, we can actually realize that price is reacting from a great supply level in here. Okay, it managed to fake out that initial high that you're looking for, but it respected perfectly that level. We actually have almost a really big Quasimodo in here that you can look for with this off shoulder. We have the fake out, and then at the extreme we end up reacting there. If prices want to go higher, then eventually can even go there. But for now, really good reaction. So the high is definitely okay. Again, similar story, kind of retracement, respected supply, and move forward. Is actually kind of one of the N pairs that end up just respecting supply without really making a new highs in here. And then kind of, again, even this value in here was perfect, right? Price just respected this zone in there. I think it's visible on the 30 minutes on hour time frame, something like that, where it reacted perfectly and just moved forward. And now this low is okay as well. It's not the best, but it was really good. Like the initial low, we managed to break structure, and then we have this another big move down, and it's not bad at all. Yep, it's not bad. And now we definitely can continue to move forward, but for now it's definitely okay. Eventually breaking below that level, we start looking for price maybe to get closer to here, but that's one of those. And yeah, somewhere in here, and eventually picking out this level, somewhere in there could also be a good level on the Aussie Yen. But just looking for the extremes at this point. from the levels that we can maybe bounce from. And then over the end, we already talked about it. Okay, we reacted from that level. At this point, perfect reaction from this level in here. We finally managed to fake out all this structure, which is something that we have been waiting for. And we'll see. Okay, we need to break this structure. We need to kind of start breaking some highs in here to show reversals. Otherwise, price will just eventually resume the move down, and all of a sudden we are looking for price to react from that level. Right? So we have this big zone in here. This looks like it was kind of a potential just fake out, and then if you do start managing to break below the structure, then you may continue eventually to push lower as well. But that we already covered on the other one. Euro yen quite similar as well. Okay, so reacted all the way from that level. Maybe something in here is still okay. Maybe something there as well. So we will see. It's going to occur in here. This looks kind of bearish to me, so that's going to be an interesting one in there, right? But again, anything regarding to this level maybe can originate into another sell. And then pound yen, this was actually the one that we're looking for. Eventually shorted, but again, it was what time was it? Like 8:30 or something like that. Yep, it still has this level as well. If by any chance price were tracing here and fake out the highs, that's totally possible. This is more of the range that we're looking for at this point. Again, this low had broken that level, so continue to look for push forward, and then eventually you have these ones in here. Okay, and they're getting closer in here. This is already double bottom, so eventually you can even fake out all this structure and break it, and all of a sudden the open space for price actually start going even lower in here. Now pound yen, again, you can maybe try to check where price is reacting from. This is actually one of those that didn't really react from anything relevant. There's maybe some money in here, but aside from that, it didn't really got closer to that potential structure. It's just yeah, a bit more in the middle. On the end, it's a bit more in the middle. Yeah. So let's see. Let's see what's going to happen. I would like to hear your opinion as well, guys. What you think about the yen pairs. Again, this is something that we've been tracking and mentioning, this big opportunity with the yen pairs, and that's the goal of this live streams, is to, again, it's not just the normal euro dollar, pound dollar, and the trading London Open or US Open. We're looking for high probability setups that you are expecting price to react from, and opportunities with high volatility to get advantage from. So yeah, this was another one, and then you can even look at CAD yen as well, which also reacted from an interesting level at the highs. Okay, this was another one that we've been waiting all this time for price to basically close the gap in here. Okay, price was still kind of around this structure. There was a lot of space to fill, and we end up faking out that level, reacting perfectly from a zone in there, and start pushing lower. Okay, so that was actually quite interesting. We've been kind of, it was actually one of the end pairs that was still quite bullish until price would get closer to here, and then you start looking for those potential sells. So that's exactly where price reacted from. Again, we have this low, and this low kind of needs to be taken for price to start opening the door, and then we can maybe feel out of it, right? Again, price is not going to be just straight moving lower. For sure, we're going to have some reactions to the upside, and these levels in here become, again, interesting to potentially look for shorts as well. Okay, when price comes back into that level, unless you start creating some kind of structure that can be used or continue to be used eventually as a sell opportunity in there. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we do retest this structure, these levels in here, and retest the same levels when the second intervention occurred. So yeah, that's another one in there to look at. And then the CAD pairs, right? So yep, interesting enough, price just respected that level. Again, this wasn't a move to the downside. You kind of mentioned and talked about it in here. So price retested again. I would prefer to see even this dollar cut getting slightly higher, but price at this point just respected that structure in there. So that's what it is. But yeah, somewhere in there it will be even better. It's kind of what I was looking for. And now price just retested basically this support resistance in here. Personally, not the best level in here. Eventually could continue to see this dollar cut moving even lower, but again with NFP, that's basically where price reacted. Again, we may even go all the way there one more time, but before that, of course, maybe some reaction from here, and we'll see if we go lower from there or not. Yep, so that's basically what we have in there. Pound CAD also continues to go slightly higher, and I'm looking eventually for pound CAD to get closer into here. That can be an interesting one. You did manage to break below that structure, so that eventually could end up being an interesting opportunity to look for sales. I want to see this one taking out these highs. We start showing a bit of compression, already reacted from this movement zone, so that's good. This one is weaker at this point, so this value is still valid in here. But yeah, it would be nice to start showing some more weakness in here as price continues to go higher, as price continues to break highs, and eventually maybe get closer to that level in there. So that's pound CAD. This can be eventually a good potential short opportunity, depending where price is on Thursday before the BOE, Bank of Canada. No, because before the Bank of Canada, sorry, before the BOE, yes, Bank of England. So maybe that's an opportunity in there to look for. And now this one, and this one is the one that, yeah, it was a big miss, this one. All right, so if you recall, for the last weeks, I've been waiting for dollar franc Swiss to go above this level. It spent a lot of time in this range. Okay, apparently accumulating a lot of liquidity, and you're looking for this dollar franc Swiss to get closer to this structure in here. Okay, so price was still kind of underneath this level, looking for dollar franc Swiss to go above actually that high, and somewhere in there eventually could be an interesting short opportunity. We had already broken a low, so that's one of the first signs that also reinforces eventually to look for a sell, and that's happening there. Then we have this compression, and eventually that's where I'm going to be looking more for the dollar franc Swiss to go towards it's more closer to this, if not even to fill all this range in there. Now the approach was actually quite good. As price was moving higher, there was that move, and the reaction was perfect. Okay, we have several KMs in there. We have this big KM, okay, and then we have also this KM in here. Okay, we actually have this one, which price kind of makes another one, and those are actually usually the types of zones that you want to look for. It's kind of when there is a bigger one in correlation with this left shoulder in here. Those are actually the ones that are going to be quite strong, and you have each of this decision point in there as well. It was actually really good, a really good level, and in here. Now the problem, one of the situations that kind of just made me in the moment I should look for a slightly higher is it was a stop loss was too high. If I by any chance want to protect in here, it would be too high at this point. We still kind of 30 something pips, and that for me is too wide. If you just wanted to protect this high in here, that would be perfect in reality in here, because we actually had then the pattern of the reversal pattern happening in here as well. Yep, basically break the lows, pick out the highs, create this PI, and then you start moving lower. This is NFP, and then there was CPI in Switzerland, and we had that another leg down in there. So that was actually a really good opportunity that happened. The PI was quite good, even for a first target somewhere in here. It was nice. As this is full compressed, start turning, back out, and price just moves again. Even the reaction from this lower edge in here as well around the NFP is quite nice in there. They left this level behind as well in there, and yeah, it's actually where I didn't get tricked. Perfect, really beautiful. Price already broke below this low, which is already kind of a break that low, so we managed to already go all the way. And in my opinion, there's even more room to downside in here, as we may get closer to here To be honest, everything is basically compressed at this point. We can go all the way towards to that break in there. Now we could definitely retest this level, and maybe from here, that's where we're going to eventually have the continuation to the downside. So we can definitely retest this level in here as a continuation, and if by any chance prices want to go slightly even higher, then we'll see. Yeah, but this one was a great setup in there. Gold, right? Gold resumed the move to downside, and it keeps respecting a little bit this level. So it respected that level in there, went higher, reacted from kind of a okay level. In my opinion, you can still go a bit closer to this extreme in here, okay? But didn't really happen. We went all the way down, kind of spiked below it with NFP, and now we're going to go here, and from here maybe we can look as a continuation. We are still respecting this structure, so that's still important. Even with this low, it's also still respecting that that structure in there, so that's something. So we'll see. Okay, we'll see. I think maybe somewhere in here is still a fresh level. I actually like it now that we made look like this one is a stronger level of resistance, so eventually can go a bit more towards this level in here, and from here maybe we can move lower, and as price still wants to fake out this level. But this one in here is not bad at all at this point, to eventually look for price to get there. Yep, so that's something. We did manage to break below that as well, so we'll see. Gold does look interesting. And then you have also oil, which finally filled the range, so it has been in the middle for a little bit. I wanted to see price would retest in here, maybe to look for sales, and now price reacted from that level, right? So again, you bounce from this level for a week or so, eventually price moved lower, a bit more as expected. There hasn't been really any updates or issues in the Middle East at this point. Kind of glad we slowed down a little bit with the attacks between first Hamas and Iran against Israel. So glad we had paused a little bit. And at this point, you are looking at oil moving lower in here. Maybe also with weak US data that's coming out. Can be another factor, but the reality is that we are now getting closer to this demand zone, and from here it's going to be interesting to see if we're going to have a turn or not in here. Okay, so price still kind of respected that level, but now as we get closer to here, that's going to be interesting. If you're going to have, for example, we could just fill this range, okay, so reacting somewhere in here from this demand zone, we could definitely maybe bounce a little bit in here and now close this gap in there, and then maybe just resume back into it and just do this. Okay, so we could do something like that in here at this point, maybe just bouncing from that level. If you want to go even deeper, this one here is actually still fresh underneath this low. Yep, that was fresh on the crude oil, not on Brent, so that's interesting. So we'll see. Okay, this could actually maybe happen. Yep, we'll see. That's an interesting PA to look for. Yep. So breaking above this structure at this point puts this one back into this level. All right, that's oil. Perfect. And now let's just finish with crypto. Crypto total market. Okay, so in this case, we did manage to fake out all these lows and we went back inside. Okay, so this was one of the levels to look for that we wanted to see being broken, and then maybe price could just retest this level and push higher again. that's basically what we had. In my opinion, this one actually is a slightly break to downside, so that's a potential continuation to the downside in here. Okay, on BTC it's not exactly the same. We kind of kept respecting that level in here, and of course this 60k mark, it will be one of the most important ones. If we do manage to break above it, then we could just reuse these levels in here and look for longs from here and eventually carry on. So this one is already basically taken, and this level here kind of is the next one to pay attention to. But yes, sometimes even more important than where is the world reacting from is to see if we do manage to regain back into this level, which can start opening the door, and the momentum shifts once again more for a bullish momentum than a bearish one, right? And again, being able to identify which key level is that's one part in there, and that was again in this case one of those. So we'll see price if the ones can retest back into the 60k again and push higher. So that's definitely something to pay attention to. So we'll see at this point, just curious to see how price may react from there and eventually back from here again. If prices want to still continue, this is eventually the next level that we'll be looking for in here. But yes, this looks like kind of a nice strong level in here to push higher, especially if you do have some liquidity in there to connect. Okay, depending on how price actually is going to get closer to that level. Ethereum was an interesting one as well. So we had this structure, we had this double wall, we start having this break to the upside in here, and then you have the fake out. Okay, so this one was basically the fake out in there. It respected that still demand zone in here, could eventually fill out the range in there and go lower, but that was still one of the fresh demand zones in here, basically within this structure. So that was still a valid level, knowing go down, and that's basically where Ethereum ended respecting. And from here it can continue. Okay, so this was a little bit of the prediction. I can basically just doing wrong button. Do it. Yeah, so from this level, basically price respected in here. Is there anything else at those that we could potentially look for? A short, maybe. Not a short, for a long, sorry. Yeah, price already respected that level, so we'll see. Like, we're going to be paying attention to see first and foremost two levels. Right, it's going to be somewhere in here. Your price respects this level, or eventually breaks and go higher, and then eventually price could use this level as a long in here, and then the other one is going to be somewhere in here to see how price may react back into this level in here. Again, this demand zone is still fresh as well, so but that's basically what you're going to be looking at on Ethereum. Now this high, when it broke to the upside, didn't really went all the way to react from this level, so there's maybe a bit more of a spice as well in here for price to go towards to. Therefore this may be a bit more of an engulf upwards in here. So those are kind of levels in here to pay attention on Ethereum. And then you have Solana as well, which is quite interesting to look for. With this, yep, Solana also we were looking out this time for price to fake out these lows, and it finally did. It finally fake out those lows and it starts turning. Okay, so I was looking for Solana to eventually take this level in here and react from this level, which price basically left this one behind and can eventually still be used as well. So we'll see if Solana is willing to come back into this level, maybe use it as a long. Again, similar to Ethereum, we do have basically this zone in here that can still hold price slightly lower, even though this one basically already broke this high, so can start showing a bit more bullish momentum in here and eventually close this gap that actually there is in here and push a bit more to the upside. So that's something to bear in mind as well. So yeah, I'm curious if Solana is coming back somewhere in here, 125 or something like that, for potential new longs. Yep, so this level is still holding, which is interesting. Yep, Ethereum and BTC. Yep, curious to see how price may react also from around this structure, and eventually could go higher. Again, price just paused in there. There's maybe still more room to the upside in here, so eventually could see maybe Ethereum gaining a bit more momentum comparing with BTC. Yep, eventually maybe getting closer to that level. Who knows? In here. Even though this level in here was already taken. Yeah, who knows? That's basically it. That's basically it for today. Yeah, nice turnaround on Ethereum and BTC. Yeah, so dollar, we'll see which level is going to hold. There's maybe a bit more room to downside, so I would like to see that happening. Curious to see how price may react around this level. In here, there's maybe another short opportunity to happen around that structure. We do have this double top though, so eventually we could even fake out this double top properly, and all of a sudden you have that type of pattern where you have, as always, kind of that structure in there, a little bit of structure in here, then you have the fake out, then eventually kind of have, sorry, the engulf, then you have eventually potential fake out, not so big maybe, and then eventually can have the push war. So we'll see if that's going to happen. That's something to bear in mind. Yep, that's basically it, to be honest. That's basically it for today, and yeah, wishing everyone a great week ahead, a good month as well. And yeah, let's carry on. Again, the opportunities, I think they're going to continue. The last few months have been quite volatile across many markets, opposite to maybe to the first 2 months of the year. And yeah, I think May is going to continue to be quite interesting, and eventually June as well, until we get into summertime, and then we'll see. But May, I'm expecting again another volatile month in here. So with that being said, guys, thank you very much. Again, don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section, and I will reply to you as always. Thank you. Bye bye.